Hi, boys and girls. Today I'm going to read you a story called Boy. That's a good story for the letter B. This is a fairy tale story, and it's a story about a boy who is deaf. That means that he can't hear. And so when he speaks, he uses sign language. So I'm going to show you sign language for 3 words today. The first one is boy. And what you're going to do is pretend that you're grabbing a cap that's on the boy's head. And the sign language for girl, you're going to take your hand like this and go from your ear down to your chin. That's because little girls used to wear bonnets that had ties on them. So that's sign language for girl. And then at the end of the story, all the people are going to be using this sign. And that means thank you. And you have to remember to smile when you do that one. Boy by Phil Cummings. Once there was a king who lived high on a hill. His castle looked over the valley to the mountains beyond. He was a powerful man with many brave knights. His brave knights were always very noisy with all of their armor. They went cling, cling, clong, cling, clong, clang. The mountains by the castle were once rich with trees. But a powerful dragon had destroyed much of the forest with his fiery breath. In a small village on the edge of the burned forest lived Boy. Boy couldn't hear, but he was happy. He spoke with dancing hands, and he drew pictures for people in the sand. His parents loved his stories, but the villagers didn't understand. What a strange child, they would say as they walked by. Since the forest had been burned, the king and the dragon had fought many fierce battles. There was roaring, roar. There was flapping, cling, clong, clang, running around, hiding, dodging, weaving, and a lot of shouting. Charge! Boy couldn't hear the battle cries, but he had seen the fear in his mother's eyes and felt it in his father's hands when he held him close. The battles were long and loud, but no one ever won. One day, when the king and the dragon were battling once more, Boy ran into the middle of it all. The knights were stunned. "Move!" they shouted. "Get out of the way, Boy!" ordered the king. "Roar!" bellowed the dragon. But of course, Boy couldn't hear them. Flames flared from the dragon's nostrils. Hiss! The knights waved their swords frantically as they marched over to Boy. Cling, clong, clang. "Why aren't you listening?" shouted the king. Boy was surprised when he looked up and saw them all. He watched them for a moment, then made his hands dance. The knights were flabbergasted. The king was puzzled. The dragon was mystified. Boy could see that they didn't understand him, so he took a sword and wrote in the sand, Why are you fighting? There was silence until suddenly the king pointed to the dragon. "He started it," he cried. "He burned our forest." The dragon shook his head. "It was an accident," he roared. "I sneezed a fireball into the trees. I came to say sorry, but your knights chased me away." The knights pointed to the king. "He told us to," they cried. The king looked up at the dragon. "Well, I thought you were coming to take my castle," he said. There's what he's thinking. "Your castle is far too small for me," the dragon replied. That's what the dragon is thinking. "All I want is for you to stop chasing me. I don't like being scared." "Nor do we," chorused the knights. Boy drew a picture of everyone in the sand. He showed them how their days could be without fighting and fear. There was a lot of chatting and laughing. "I promise the knights won't chase you any more," said the king to the dragon, "and you can visit my castle whenever you like." "And I will cover my nose when I sneeze," said the dragon. Boy couldn't hear a word, but he didn't need to. Back in the village, everyone was waiting to see Boy. "Thank you," they said, with dancing hands. So you remember the sign for thank you? So I am sending you a copy of the sign language letters. So some words we don't have signs for, especially names. So I want you to look at this and see if you can figure out how to sign your name by spelling it, spelling all the letters in it. So here's how I do my name. K-I-M, Kim.